All right. Welcome to Doyenne Info Session. What we're going to be talking about today is just an overview of the organization, what we do, how we do it, and answer any questions. And you're welcome to email me. It's heather@thedoyennegroup.com if you have additional questions or would like to talk more after the info session today, because if you're like me, not all the questions come to your head as you're going through stuff. I need time to percolate and think about things, so you're always welcome to reach out to me at a later date as well. Our mission statement within Doyenne is we serve early stage scalable ventures led by those who identify as women and or marginalized gendered founders for economic growth and venture success. And then you can see on the bottom of this screen kind of what we're going to go through around the why, the who, the what's, and the hows we do those things to meet our mission. Before we get into those things, let's do just a little housekeeping. So our guiding principles within Doyenne are listed out on this slide. And really what these guiding principles are is how we approach working with entrepreneurs, what we believe supporting entrepreneurs looks like, and also plays into how we're different than other organizations or other coaches and support systems within an entrepreneurial ecosystem. These are posted on our website as well, and you're welcome to go and look at them. If you go onto the website and there's an about, and if you hover over that, there's a guiding principle page that you can read through and see all of these. Our number one guiding principle is we believe entrepreneurship happens within a life. And so we know that as an entrepreneur, as a person, we wear many, many, many different hats or identities, not just during within our life, but every single day of our life. And again, back to how we approach and work with entrepreneurs is we don't expect you to check all those things at the door and only show up as the entrepreneur version of yourself. We know that life happens. We know that many things happen as to why we can't show up in the quote unquote perfect framework when we're trying to work on our businesses. And we accept you as you are, who you are, as best that we're able to, but then also try to work on being better and doing better ourselves to make sure that we're able to support you the best that we can. Our code of conduct, which when you sign up for any Doyenne event, you agree to our code of conduct, or if you become a volunteer or contractor or a staff person within the organization. And the big part of that is to be considerate, be respectful, be careful in the words that you choose, and harassment and exclusionary behavior are unacceptable. If you ever feel like the code of conduct within Doyenne has been breached during any contact that you've had with anyone within the organization, on any event page registration and any event registration page on the website, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a link to find our code of conduct, and it has contact information of who you can reach out to report or discuss how the code of conduct was breached as you were working within Doyenne. Okay, so why does Doyenne exist? So as we know, the reality of what entrepreneurship looks like is 2.2%. I think it was actually like 2.3% last year, but it's about 2% of all venture capital dollars invested in the US go to strictly women-led ventures. This number has actually continued to decrease over the past 5 years, where in 2018, we were at our heyday of 2.8%. And in that year, to put that into context, it was about $2 million was about 2%, 2.8%, whereas Juul, the e-cigarette company, they had over $11 million invested in them. So one company had 5 times more invested in them in a year than all the women-led ventures in the US. So we know that there's a huge gap. This number of dollars being invested into women founders or female founders is even less for women of color. And so part of what we're doing is how do we try to close that gap and also bring awareness to this. In Wisconsin, where we are headquartered, about 10% of all of the businesses headquartered here in Wisconsin are women-owned, which is different than women-led, because the way that our constructs are still set up in Wisconsin, if you open a company or open a business and you have your husband's name on it, even if your husband doesn't work for the company, you might just open your LLC and put both of your names on it. It is still considered a male-led company within our state, even in 2023. So and then there's also not good tracking around gender breakdown as to company ownership within our state. I've talked to so many people about this. We're getting better in Wisconsin at tracking race and ethnicity as far as business ownership, but we are still not tracking gender identity within our state. So we know that we're lagging far behind, but we also know that there's a huge potential when people back, support, and invest in women-led businesses. So we have higher returns on investments. We have higher revenue numbers compared to our male counterparts. We have higher startup success numbers compared to our male counterparts, and we require less funding to be able to make that happen. And then we also know that 90% of a woman's income is invested directly back into their community, either through where they use their dollars, where they donate their dollars, or where they volunteer their time to support community growth. And so the saying is, if you teach one woman, she'll go and teach 3 more on how to do what they're trying to do or build community and what they're trying to do. So that those are big reasons as to why the organization is important to how do we create more impactful and better entrepreneurial ecosystems. When we think about the entrepreneurial journey, there's many ways you can look at the journey. On this slide, what we're looking at is 4 different stages of owning and operating your company. So the idea stage, so that's where you've got an idea, you're starting to do some research as to, does this make sense to move it forward? What does it take to be able to build this? What all goes, kind of building out that business plan. The emerging and early stage, which are the 2 areas that Doyenne focuses the most and works the best with in supporting those businesses, are where you've already moved into I want to move forward with my business. I have started running or operating my business either very part-time or on the side, or also I'm full-time, I'm in it, I'm building it out. I have staff or contractors or team members, whatever that looks like. But I've hit like a plateau and I don't know how to move into that next area of growth or scale to take my company to the next level of success. Those are where Doyenne programming and events and coaching opportunities fit best in supporting the entrepreneurs. And then an established company, so you're operating, you're kind of like maintaining and or starting to think about what does the company do next. So if you're starting to set up for an acquisition or sale of the company or an exit of some sort, that's what that established bracket is really about. So again, where Doyenne fits in best is those emerging and early stage areas. We will be celebrating 11 years of being in operation in 2023. We've served over 21 business sectors in those, almost 11 years, and we've supported over 3,500 entrepreneurs to date, with 95, probably even a little bit more than 95% of those entrepreneurs being headquartered or based here in Wisconsin. But we do have also sprinklings of entrepreneurs that we've supported between the surrounding states to Wisconsin as well. While Doyenne is headquartered in Wisconsin and our primary, audience is here in Wisconsin, we do work with entrepreneurs from everywhere. So in 2020, sorry, as everybody, either had to, was forced to, or tried to manage for a while of going virtual with their company, Doyenne also made that transition due to the COVID-19 pandemic. What we found is that it works, that we're able to meet our entrepreneurs where they're at even more easily, because there's not a limitation of us having to physically be in a certain city or region. or state. But also it was more cost effective for the organization to be a virtual organization instead of what we had been building in years prior was more of national chapters. And so we're based in Madison and Milwaukee, and we were starting to look at how do we set up Doyenne cities outside of Wisconsin. We've scaled all that back and just have become and will maintain a virtual platform to be able to support entrepreneurs. That does not mean that there's not opportunities to connect face to face or attend things in person, but the majority of our programming and events are done and will continue to be done over online platforms so that travel does not become a constraint to being able to receive the support that you're looking for within your company. Here are some of the entrepreneurs that we've supported over the past few years to highlight the different sectors. So up here we have some social services, service providers, product development, and also food or beverage marketing development companies. So as you can see, we work with a wide scope of business sectors and also a wide range of between ages, race, ethnicity, and then lived experience backgrounds as to who we support within the organization. Are the three main areas that Doyenne focuses on. So kind of how do we meet our mission? We have three key areas that we think about with any of our programming and how does it fit into these areas. So the first one is develop your strategy or develop the entrepreneur, build your skills, or grow your network. And so all the programs that are laid out on here, I'll be going through the majority of these. And you can see with every program how it fits into those different areas. The first opportunity that we have is one-on-one coaching. So one-on-one coaching, anyone can sign up for these. And it used to be that we had, like 30 coaches on our website that anyone could sign up for office hours with. What we learned is that people would prefer to sign up with me or one of my team members first to have an initial conversation before they schedule a meeting with one of our other coaches. So what we've done instead is you sign up for a coaching session with me. We kind of do an intake. We either figure out, does it make sense for you to continue working with me, or who can I point you to within those different business areas or areas of expertise who would serve as a better coach for you to continue to work with. Our coaching packages are, you can sign up just whenever you want. A 50-minute session is $75. You can also sign up for like a coaching membership or a package deal where you get 2 per month, 2 50-minute sessions per month, which is $100 a month. And then we also have team and corporate rates available as well. So if you want to do co-founder or small team coaching opportunities, or if you'd like me to come in or someone else come in and do either team building or strategic planning support, then we could talk about what those rates would look like. So the next program is our Triple Threat Venture Training Program. And this is, I hate calling it an accelerator, but it's one of our versions of an entrepreneurial accelerator within Doyenne. So the program actually used to be 2 different programs that we had in Doyenne, which was our retreats, which were 2.5-day strategic planning workshops. And then we also had a founder series, which was a 12-month kind of CEO development program. And what we learned from feedback from the clients was that 2.5 days, not enough time. 12 months, way too long. So what we've done is combine those, and we've created a 20-week program. These programs run twice a year. So the spring program runs early April until the end of August. The fall program runs mid-September until the end of January. So my fall program they'll be wrapping up next week with that cohort. So the end of January, they'll be wrapping up. And within those 20 weeks, it's broken down into 4 different phases of learning about you and your skill set and what your company does and how do you leverage your skills to be able to lead your company into success. Also, what are gaps within those skills that are needed, and how do we start thinking about how do we fill those gaps, which then lead into the second phase, which is developing your strategy. So we work together, and you work with a Doyenne coach that you'll be appointed with for being able to create what does the strategic plan for the next 12 to 18 months look like within your company, which then leads into the third phase, which is leveraging the community. So we do a pitch event where you're able to present your company to the community, as well as put out a personal ask. So if you're looking for clients, customers, ways that people can get involved, maybe if you're hiring, what kind of candidates are you looking for? Or if you are fundraising for your company, how can people get involved in supporting your fundraising? Which then leads into the fourth phase, which is our aftercare phase. And we partner with an organization called Kokoro. And during that last phase, it's 8 weeks, and you do more in depth of kind of the feelings and emotions that go into why you're making the decisions, have past experiences played into how you're making decisions within your company, and how do we set you up for success as you're starting to lay out that strategy and that strategic plan that you created during phase 2 and phase 3 of the program. So that program right now, it's a $500 deposit to be part of the program. If you complete all aspects of the program, that $500 is returned. And then I'm hoping, right now we are in conversations with WEDC. In 2022, WEDC provided a grant for Doyenne, so all people who completed the program also received a $2,500 unrestricted grant. We are currently in contract negotiations for continuing that to be able to also offer that $2,500 unrestricted grant to companies in 2023. But as of right now, that is unknown. But as I know more, the website will be updated to be able to figure out if that is available. To be able to go, the basic requirements to be able to go through Triple Threat is the company does have to be registered and headquartered in Wisconsin, and it can be registered as a sole proprietorship, an LLC, an S Corp, C Corp partnership. And it doesn't have to be, we've reached X number of customers or X number of sales or anything like that. We have had companies go through the program that they're still kind of in that ideation stage. They've taken the steps into we've incorporated the company, but we're still trying to figure out how do we go to market. And so those are also ways that, even if you're still in that stage of your company, you can still go through Triple Threat Venture Training. Each cohort is capped at 8 entrepreneurs per cohort. And it's also, so let's say you're a co-founding team within your company. It's only set up for one person to go through the program. There's opportunities where co-founders or team members are able to attend, but some of the workshops and some of the work that's required will be specifically just for that one person, that one founder within the company who will be going through the program. Our Learning Lab and ISO Learning Program. So the ISO Learning Program are monthly webinars that we hold on the second Thursday of most months. There are a few months, such as July, August, and December, that we do not hold ISO Learning programs, in January, that we don't hold ISO Learning programs, just because what we've learned over the 3 years of doing this program is those months have very low attendance. And so we just don't hold them then. The ISO learnings every month, what we do is we highlight a different, expert within their field to come and talk about a specific topic. So it's wide ranging. It can be like how to read a cap table, to how to deal with taking care of yourself during shitty times. So if you're in high stress, or just the influx of the economy, how do you stay open? How do you take care of yourself during all of that? To how do you, I'm trying to think of another, how do you do email marketing? And how do you do it in a way that is strategic instead of just throwing content out through email services? So there's a wide variety as to different areas that we highlight. And we also record all of those webinars, and we put them on our Learning Lab. And so our Learning Lab is kind of, we dub it as Netflix for entrepreneurs, or if you've heard of the platform called Masterclass. So, easy way, the learning lab is for you come in, you learn a topic. All of our facilitators who have courses on the learning lab have also agreed to, if you go through the program and you reach out afterwards and due to questions or just want to do some follow-up based on what you've seen through the learning lab course, they will give you at least one free session to go through those questions and support what you're trying to build out. So Learning Lab, also the majority of the content that's on the Learning Lab, this actually needs to be updated. It says over 40 content pieces. There's closer to 90 content pieces currently on the Learning Lab. Majority of them are free, but some of them do have a nominal fee on being able to access those courses. We try to keep the price as low as possible, but for our courses that are built out to have multi-sections or not just like a one and done, kind of like the ISO learning programs are, we split the revenues off of those pieces with those facilitators. So if something costs $200 to purchase through the Learning Lab, for every participant who registers for it, $100 stays within Doyenne, $100 goes to that content creator or the facilitator of that of those courses to be able to support what they're doing. The Investor Accelerator, so another accelerator through Doyenne, but this one, instead of being focused on the entrepreneur, is focused on how do we get more people becoming investors in startup companies. So this program, actually, again, another error in my slides. It's an 8-week program. It used to be 12 weeks. We've condensed it down to 8 weeks. Again, it's held over Zoom, so physical location is not a constraint, and we hold it in the fall every year. It is $1,500 to go through this program, and what you do through the course of those 8 weeks are you learn about what are the different avenues to becoming an investor within startup companies. How can you get your financials in a place where you're able to fit into those different buckets, or even if it's like, you know what, I got $5,000 right now, how do I start investing in a startup? We'll help you figure out how to do that right now. We also introduce you to how to go through evaluating a company as to if you want to invest in them, also figuring out what does it look like and what is all the terminology. So some of it is, in one of the sessions, we actually we watch a Shark Tank video and we break down what is all the vocabulary that they're talking about when they are looking at the terms or what the return will be like from that investment in that company, to be able to figure out how is your dollars being used and what does that return look like to you if and when there's a successful exit from the company. And then we also talk about, so you've written a check, what does that mean? What does going forward of waiting for what happens next with your money within that investment look like? How do you need to report it on your taxes? We bring in a tax advisor who specifically does work within startup investments to talk about what are K1s or other reporting that you'll be receiving from the companies you're investing in. How does that transfer onto your taxes when you need to report every year? And then if what we all hope to happen, a successful exit happens and you see a return on your investment, how do you take care of that from a tax standpoint? And also, what can you do with that money afterwards? You can keep it. I'll just give you a heads up. You can keep it, but if you decide you want to invest in it again, what's another opportunity? And then we do also introduce you to fund managers. So if you'd like to join a fund or other platforms that you're able to leverage your dollars into to be able to invest in companies. Our learning teams. So our learning teams are really built around how do we continue the community for the participants that are going through our accelerator program. So these are only open to those who have gone through Triple Threat or the Investor Accelerator. And they're $25 a month. We ask for a minimum 6-month commitment to be part of a learning team. And there's 4 different types of learning teams. And you can, when you sign up to be part of a team, you can have a blended team too. So like last year we had an accountability and a GAB session team. So they met twice a month, and at one meeting they would do all their goal setting and also reporting on their previous goals. And then they would do something fun in the middle of the month as well, just to hang out as the 5 of them. So that's 2 of them. There's also opportunities for peer mentoring, where your team can either reach out to me and ask, can you come and talk about this type of, area of expertise that we're all looking for? Or what I normally do is, oh, I know someone who can come in and is willing to talk to you all and answer your questions. And how does this fit within your company as to how could you lay out this this area to make sense for what you're trying to do? And then the deal flow group, those are just for the people who went through the Investor Accelerator program, because that's for, so you've gone through the program, you're starting to actively think about what does investing look like, and maybe you're reviewing proposals, or you're also just looking for a place for people to submit, like, or say like, here's an opportunity if someone's looking to invest in it, or here's a new fund. Those groups typically are meeting to talk about those types of things. A lot of them is like, so I was reviewing these terms these companies sent, and I don't know what this means. Can you help me understand it better? And so we do a lot of conversations around that. Okay, let me take a breath. Our 5x5x5 pitch event. So these programs, again, held virtually. We hold it in August during Forward Fest, which takes place here in Madison. And it's 5 female or women-led companies, each give a 5-minute pitch, and one of them is awarded a $5,000 grant to use towards the future of their business. We've actually been holding these programs since 2014. And the way that they're structured is you apply through the website. We have a committee of individuals who review all the applications, and the committee is made up of past presenters or winners of the 5x5x5 event. And they select the 5 companies. Once you're selected, you go through a minimum of 2 pitch practice sessions with me and a couple other Doyenne coaches to support the development of your pitch, and making sure that you're hitting all of the areas that the judges at the event will be evaluating you on. And then, as I mentioned, there's judges at the event, and they will select who the winner is. I don't serve as a judge. No one from the Doyenne team serves as a judge. None of our coaches who come and support you with your pitch development serve as judges. We try to have outsiders, so it's fresh eyes watching your pitches. And then there's also opportunity for the community to attend the 5x5x5, so you can see all the pitches, learn more about these companies, and also ask questions of the entrepreneurs who lead them to find out more how you can support or maybe ways to partner with them. Our showcase events, so these used to be standalone events, and we've actually tied them into the Triple Threat Venture Training Program. So as I mentioned, in that 3rd phase of Triple Threat, we have the, invite the community, and we have a pitch event. The showcase events are that pitch event. And what they do is, at the event, all of the cohort participants give a 5-minute pitch, and then they each have 8 to 10 minutes to do a talk back session with the attendees of the event. There's also opportunity at the end of the event to go into breakout rooms to do one-on-one conversations with all of the participants. And then you also get information as a participant of the event. You also get all the contact information sent to you of the presenters, so that you're able to reach out to them in the future and also have more information about their companies. Anyone can attend the showcase events. They're free. We have a $10 suggested donation. Same with 5x5x5. It's free with a $10 suggested donation. Some media opportunities. So this is really around, as I mentioned in the beginning, part of our job in trying to change the entrepreneurial ecosystem so that more entrepreneurs are fully supported is also transforming the narrative. So how do we make sure that entrepreneurs who look like you are being represented in the media, but also their stories and their success are being highlighted. And so we don't just see a certain type of entrepreneur being highlighted all the time. So Doyenne does put out a monthly newsletter on the first Tuesday of every month that has what's happening within the organization for that current month. So it could have upcoming events. It also has upcoming deadlines for different program applications or event registrations. We also try to highlight other programming that's happening within the ecosystem that we feel our entrepreneurs would be interested in, or our network of entrepreneurs would be interested in, and or people, organizations that we partner with within the community, events that they have going on. On the third Tuesday of every month, we release our digital publication, which is Brick by Brick. And the Brick by Brick is more curated content, either from outside sources, or we interview different organizations to talk about how they are making change within the entrepreneurial ecosystem, or sometimes there's thought leadership pieces by myself within Brick by Brick as to trends or things that I'm hearing from entrepreneurs as I'm coaching or we're running programs and events. If there's pieces that I'm like, I keep hearing this thing from everybody, maybe we should talk about it a little bit more. I'll write a blog post on it. We also highlight usually a podcast episode from either, we used to have a podcast called Lady Business, so we might like do it from the archives, or we highlight podcasts from people that we know or podcasts that we listen to that we think would be episodes or podcasts that we think our audience would be interested in. And then there's a highlighted area for a content piece from the Learning Lab. All right, I'm almost done, I promise. So we talked, what are other funding opportunities within Doyenne? So we talked about the 5x5x5 pitch contest. We also talked about Triple Threat. Hopefully we'll be able to secure that, we'll be able to provide those $2,500 grants again this year in 2023. But please make sure you're watching the website or the newsletters as to if and when that's going to happen. In the past, we did have our Evergreen Fund, which provided grants and equity investments into companies. That fund is closed. We have distributed all the dollars as of 2021. And so now we're waiting on returns from those investments that we've made before we're able to raise a new fund to be able to create more investment opportunities. The Investor Accelerator, while not an automatic or clear pathway for funding, it does become another avenue, because as we increase introducing or educating people as to how they can become investors in companies, usually they reach out saying, are there any companies within Doyenne that are trying to secure investment dollars right now that they would like to be put into contact with? So of our cohort that we've done, most recent cohort that we've done, there was 8 participants. 6 of those participants have now actually gone out and made their first investments in startup companies headquartered in Wisconsin as well. So high number of taking those steps after going through the program. We also love to partner on with other organizations on opportunities. So both Triple Threat and Investor Accelerator are a white label program. So we will work with other organizations. So it can be Triple Threat Venture Training Program brought to you by Doyenne, but hosted under another organization name. We do a lot within our organization, as you can see, but we're always open to co-hosting events or programs. We do a lot of referrals. So Doyenne is not your one-stop shop for everything. Obviously, no one can be that, and no one can do that successfully. So a lot of times if people come to me, I'm like, here's how we can help, but here's others within the ecosystem that may also be able to support what you're trying to build and grow. And then as I'm, and other opportunities to cross promote as well. Here's our contact information. You're welcome to reach out anytime with questions. Please make sure to follow us on those different social media channels and invite us to follow you back as well. We used to be a membership-based organization. We have discontinued that as of last year. So there is no membership dues to be able to be part of the organization. And with that, I'm going to end my screen share and recording. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.